Everyone, so we're going to continue with Poomsae, and we're going to make sure that you guys can hear us this time. Okay, facing forward. Hit!
Sir,
Good night.
can you turn the camera down slightly more? Thank you.
Okay, so let's get started with Poomsae. Facing forward. Hit! Wait.
Yes, sir. Okay.
You just did that, didn't we? Sorry. You did me? Okay, ready. Poomsae number 1. By my count, show me low block to the left side. Hana. From here, punch. Third. Turn around. Set. Net. Moving to the front, low block punch and forward stance. Hana. From here to the side, middle block. Make sure your back leg moves. Hana. Third. Set. So remember, guys, whenever we're turning around, we always want to turn around to the front for this Poomsae, okay? There's no turning to the back yet. Hana. Third. Set. Net. 다섯. 여섯. 일곱. 여덟. 바로. Okay, shut, relax, very good. Okay, so guys, I want to go over a few common mistakes that we see people do in Taekwondo number 1. Kathy, do you know any mistakes that some students make in Poomsae 1?
Poomsae 1.
Poomsae number 1. What's some things that you notice people do?
They always turn the other way. Instead of turning forward, they turn backwards.
Yeah, so like, for example, when you go here, right, you'll find some people, we see them turn the wrong way around. You always want to go past the front. The front is wherever you start. So if I start my GP from here, this is the front. So when I turn around, it has to be around this way, right? We never want to go the other way around, right? Is there anything else? Do you think of anything else? Okay, right. There's a few other things we see sometimes. Sometimes when people do their blocks, they use the same hand twice. So for example, when you do a middle block, some people want to use the same hand again and they do this. But we know we're supposed to switch our hands for the punch. Okay, so just remember, guys, when you're doing a middle block, you have a different hand from your leg, and the punch is also a different hand from your leg, right? So when you're starting a Poomsae first, it doesn't feel natural to have a hand and leg different side, like this. So some people try to do this, right? You want to make sure that your hand and legs are different for middle block. They're the same for low block and the same for head block, okay? So we're going to see Poomsae number 1 on my end. Facing forward.
Let's go. Set. 준비. Poomsae number 1 on your own count. 시작. 바로 더.
You're not allowed to center anymore. Do we?
Maybe we didn't move the camera.
We're going to move this camera a little bit so that, you know, that I'm in the center when I do Poomsae. Okay, very good. Let's continue. Poomsae number 2. Check.
Yes, sir.
Good night. Facing forward. 준비. Poomsae number 2 by my count, low block. Now, ready, move to forward stance. Third. Set. Net. To the front, middle block. Now. Third. Your middle blocks here are with the opposite hand from your leg, just like we said before. Now. From here, kick, punch to the face. Now. Third. Set. Make sure your punch is going to your upper lip, guys. So you're aiming for this right here. This part of your mouth is what you're aiming for, right under your nose. You're punching there. Now, third. From here, when you turn around, make sure you step with your left leg first and then twist your legs to turn around. Now, third. To the back, low block. Now, third. Kick punch. Set. Net. Ba로. Sure, relax, very good. We're Okay, very good job, everyone. So let's move on to Poomsae number. Wait, we're still doing Poomsae number 2. Sorry, hold on. Well, make sure you guys, when you're doing your Poomsae, right, for number 2, make sure you can show your walking stances, your forward stances clearly. So when you're doing a walking stance, you want to make sure you have 1 fist of space between your feet. When you're doing a forward stance, you want 3.5 feet of space, right? So make sure they don't look the same. So some people do this, and then we're not sure which one you do, whether it's here or whether it's here. They should look clearly different. Same thing with your punches. When you punch to the body, it should be below your shoulder. When you punch to the face, it should be above your shoulder, aiming at your upper lip. So you don't want to punch too high. You don't want to punch in the middle either. Okay, because this could be here, this could be here, and sometimes we can't tell what you intend to do, right? So let's see Poomsae number 2 on that.
다시 그냥 차렷.
This one.
네. 준비. Poomsae number 2 on your own count. 시작. 바로. 샷.
Really good. Let's move on to Poomsae number 3. Easy forward check. In there. Turning around. To be. Ready. By my count, no block. Now. Front kick, double punch. Third. And make sure your right hand goes first because your right leg kicks first. So right, left. Set. Net. From here is left leg, so left hand then right hand. Now, to the front, left hand strike. Make sure you start with your hand open before you strike here, and it's only one hand open. Don't have both of them open. Now, third. Changing from back stance to forward stance, move your front leg forward and turn your back leg when you punch. Now, third. Set. Net. Hustle. Turn around, little block now. Kick, double punch. Now. Third. Set. Net. Hustle. Make sure you're doing the next one. Make sure your hands come up when you kick, and then you set your hands before you land. So I want to see this. Hands up. See that? Now. Third.
cut.
Auto. Jump. Drop your round. Okay, for take of 3, the few things I want to see, there's 2 new movements here, the knife hand strike and the single knife hand block. Okay, so for these movements, I want to see you guys make sure, right? They're called single knife hand strike and single knife hand block. What that means is one hand has the knife hand position, the other one doesn't. So oftentimes we see some people starting like this and then they do this with an open hand here. That should be in a fist, not just when you reach here. Your hand should start in a fist from the beginning. Same thing with your knife hand strike. Your hand should be in a fist, other hand should be open before you strike. So avoid having this and avoid having this. Okay, even if your hand closes halfway through, we can still see you set your hands like this. So make sure you start in a fist from the beginning. Okay, let's see, take 3 on.
Poomsae. 준비. Poomsae number 3 on your own count. 시작. 바로. 자.
Very good. Let's move on to Poomsae number 4. We're gonna go this one a little bit faster. In there. Poomsae 준비. Ready. Turn that front block to the side now. Knife hand thrust, two. Turn around, set. Net. To the front, head block, knife hand strike. Now. Two. Make sure here we land in the forward stance. Now, side kick, to knife hand block. Turning around, out of block, now. Two. Set. Net. Pass up. Yes up. Make sure that back fist goes to your mouth level, upper lip once again. And up. Third. Set. Net. Auto. Sure, relax. Okay, so just a few things very quickly. Make sure when you guys are doing your middle blocks at the end, that they're the same hand as your leg before the punch. Same thing when you turn around. Match it up with your front leg. Go off center and then back in. Okay, and in the interest of time, we're going to move on to kicking here. So for taking forward, we're going to practice it a little bit more next time. Okay, facing forward, check. And then let's go for a quick water break, and then you're going to come back for kicking. Good job, guys. Okay, everyone, let's move on. We're going to practice some kicking today. I know we're a little short on time because of the delay with the stream, but we're going to do the best we can to cover everything. Okay, facing forward, check. And then, everyone, fight session B. We're going to start with front kick first. Make sure your knee comes up high, your foot is flexed down, but your toes are curled back at the same time before your front kick. Okay, let's start with that. Ready? Show me front kick for my count. And now, ha, two, set, net, pass up, change your legs, ha, now, two, set. Okay? Pass up. Ha. Good. Shake out your legs. Okay, anyways, next thing we're going to do, let's move on. Make sure you raise your knee up high before you turn your body and pivot your body to the side. Okay? So, two things. Get your foot and your knee same height. That's the first thing. Second thing, to make sure you're aiming your turning kick properly, trying to point your shin at the target. So if I'm kicking towards here, my shin faces forward before I extend my leg. That way I go through the target. Okay, so try to point your shin at whatever you're aiming at. Okay, ready? Fight session B. Ha! Ready? Turning kick by my count. Ha! Ha! Two. Yes. Set. Ha! Net. Ha! Pass up. Ha! Change your legs. Ha! 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 Two. Ha! Set. Ha! Net. Ha! Pass up. Ha! Very good. Check out your legs. Okay, next thing we're going to do, we're going to turn your turning kick into a roundhouse. So there's two extra steps that we have to do in order to make our turning kick into a roundhouse. Kathy, do you know what they are?
You have to bring your knee up a little bit more.
Okay, so raising your knee higher. Good, that's the first step. What's the second step?
I want to say bending your body a little bit backwards.
That's good, yeah. So the second thing, you have to bring your body a little bit further back so that your foot can come up. So you guys will notice, if you try to raise your knee without leaning back, right? The muscle right here starts to pinch. You feel there's some tension there. So your body has some muscles there that squish together, right, when you lift up your knee sideways, right? So to get around that, you're going to have to lean your body back so that your leg can come up without resistance from your body, all right? There's also one more thing. I said two, but there are actually three. The last thing is pivoting, getting your heel to go from side to forward so that your knee can come up higher. This is also a matter of flexibility. Okay, so let's try for turning kick. Sorry, roundhouse from here. So raising your knee and turning more and leaning back. Also raising your knee. Okay, let's give that a try. Roundhouse right 5, then left 5. Na, ha, two, ha, set, ha, net, ha, pass up, ha, change your legs, ha, na, ha, two, ha, set, ha. Very good. Okay, so you guys have any questions, please do let us know. But otherwise, right, we're going to move on to our side kick. Okay, so for side kick, I'm going to show you guys the difference between turning kick and side kick from the side view, so you guys can see that. Actually, before I do that, let's test Kathy's knowledge again. How does the turning kick differ from the side kick?
So the way your knees come up, when you're doing your turning kick, your knees come in a straight line with your shoulder, hips, and knees. But when you're doing a side kick, you bring your knees closer to your, I want to say belly button or tummy.
Well, that's pretty accurate, yeah. So your knee has to come in more to the side,
Yeah.
right? But the way that you figure out how far you go isn't really where it is relative to your body. So what I mean by that is this. Every time you're doing a kick, right, you're pointing something at your target. When you do a front kick, you point your knee at your target, right, before you extend your leg. Wherever your knee points is where your foot goes, right? Now, for a turning kick, it was your shin. Wherever your shin points, that's where your foot's going to end up going past, right? Now, for side kick, it's different. It's your heel. So if my heel is pointing here, right, my kick's either going to go here, or when I extend my leg, it's going to look more like a turning kick, right? So how do I make my side kick go straight? I have to tuck in my knee to the point where my heel faces forward. So from here, if this is turning kick position, my foot comes in, my knee goes in, and now my heel is facing forward before I push it up. Okay, so that's what we're looking for. We're looking for you guys to point your heel at your target by tucking in your knee. Okay, so everyone, try this for a few seconds. Start in turning kick position. I want you to move your knee in until your heel faces forward, and then push it up. And then try it again. Turning kick position, and then tuck in your knee, and then push it up. Ha. Okay, so you feel like it's a little bit more difficult because, right, you have to use your abs to pull your muscles in, to pull your leg in, but also because you feel a little bit more strain in your butt before you push your leg out. Right? So if you're feeling that, you're doing it right. Okay, if you feel like, it's a little bit too easy, check your positions, right? Try to have your heel facing forward before you push your knee up. Okay, so let's try to get to that position where we do side kick, we do 5 right, and then 5 left, and then from there we're going to end. Right, so that should be, ha! Ready, side kick, 1, ha! Wow. 2, ha! Set, ha! Net, ha! Hustle, ha! Okay, guys, so remember the higher side kick that you do, once again, just like your turning kick in your roundhouse, right? The higher you want your leg to go up, the more you're gonna have to lean back a little bit, okay? So make sure your balance is good. Fine session B, left leg behind, ha! Now, ha! 2, ha! Set, ha! Net, ha! Hustle, ha! Very good. Check out your legs. Right. So another way you want to think about your side kick is like a stomp. When you bring your knee up and straight down, that same movement, when you translate it to the side position here, you push your knee out, boom, before you pull it back in, instead of moving your leg side to side. Think of it like everything from your knee to your foot is moving in a straight line. If you see it from the side, it'll be like this, straight up. Okay. So you want it moving in a straight line. Any comments?
One thing I see a lot is kids doing this with their butts sticking out.
So yeah, making a V with your body is not so good because what's happening here is you're not using the correct muscle to lift up your leg. It'll look like this, right? So what that means is 2 things. Number 1, your shoulder position is leaning forward. Number 2 is either that or your foot position is off center. So when you do a side kick, you're supposed to look at your foot, not just because that's where your target is, but also because when you're doing it, you want to have a straight line from your shoulder, hip, knee to your foot. If you don't have that, if you have this instead, you know that you're doing something wrong. You're going to get a quick water break here. I'm going to call over Instructor Mary to debrief you guys, straight. And then good job, everyone.